suggestion to the Prime Minister and the other premiers was actually to bring the CBSA, bring our Coast Guard in right under the military.
There's more cringe here in Canada. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Olivia Chow, the Mayor of Toronto, with some more stage-side cringe. We've also got an NDP MP standing up, declaring his allegiance to Palestine, says the words in Parliament. Unbelievable, to say the least. We've also got a foreign liberal saying Trudeau's gone AWOL on the world stage, among some other clips. Let's jump into this. We got a clip here of a former liberal basically grilling Justin Trudeau here. This is on the TVO YouTube channel here.
Just a couple of times already in our conversation, and that is the notion that in the mid-1980s, the Liberals seemed out of gas and needed some refreshing.
Right.
And here we are in 2024, and you have made the comparison that it may not be dissimilar. In fact, can I put it this way? Towards the end of your book, you have a chapter on Justin Trudeau's broken promises, lack of interest in foreign affairs, indifference, as you call it, to poorer countries. You say he has basically gone AWOL on the world stage. This is very tough stuff.
Yes, it is.
For a current Prime Minister, Liberal, to hear from a former Liberal cabinet minister.
I mean, to be fair, he has gone AWOL on the world stage.
Why'd you put all that in there?
Because I was hoping that as the Prime Minister and his cabinet and the other Liberals in the caucus do some reckoning about where we're at right now, that they realize that there has to be some real change in the way things happen. It's not just the policies. It's how you get there and how you arrive. Not much like getting in.
Since you are not holding back and giving advice to the current federal government about what steps forward it should take, let's see how far I can push you on this. Should Justin Trudeau lead the Liberals into the next federal election?
That's his choice. It should be the choice of the Liberal Party, but it's not, because the tools and levers that were once there were sort of scoured out in 2016. When our Constitution was changed from being a party to a movement. And so the ability of constituencies or provincial groups and so on to hold accountability is gone. And so it's been left up to a group of MPs who have no corridor. There's no rules among which they have to play it.
If Justin Trudeau were not the leader of the Liberals today, whom would you prefer to see in that position?
I don't have a choice right now. I mean, I think I go back to the lessons a little bit that the American Democrats are learning, that sort of having sort of a chosen sort of dolphin doesn't work. I think you have to open it up and let's see who in the rough and scrum of competing for office. And that means you also have to put some limits on the amount of money you can spend.
Well, I agree with the guy. That's how it should be done. It doesn't matter. Like, there's so many of us will never vote Liberal again because of what they've done to us. I don't think that same feeling exists for the NDP as much. I think with the NDP, it's not so much the party, but with Jagmeet, because Jagmeet is the one guy who's holding it up. I think it's quite possible when the election comes, the NDP will gobble up a little bit of that Liberal support. So you'll see that their numbers go up a little bit. The Liberals are just going to keep going down. And the NDP could possibly rebuild that party once they get rid of Jagmeet, may kind of flush out the whole party. They could probably rebuild a little bit. But the Liberals are done for life. Like, that party is done.
As our leadership saying, we control finance at the election level, but at the party level, your big donors, can really buy a lot of.
Something to note about this interview, I went and checked out the original source. I actually like this. This edit here really cut it down, but the original source, he asked the guy at the very end if he's still voting Liberal, and he said yes. This guy's a diehard Liberal. He's an idiot. It's absolutely disgraceful that you would call out all these problems with the party, yet you'd still support Trudeau. Grow a backbone, Lloyd Axworthy. It's low intelligent people like him that lead Canada into a mess it's in. They all cling to the belief that Liberal is to be good. His book should end up in the dustbin, a globalist Liberal crackpot. Next up, we got this disastrous clip here. We've got Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow chugging tequila on stage.
One more time for Mayor Olivia Chow.
She's an absolute embarrassment. Every time she goes out in public, she's just a disaster. As someone has posted here, this is from the earlier event, the Carabina, whatever it's called. Close your eyes. It's hard to unsee. Yeah, you can't unsee this. Blah. She's in her hot chow era. A couple comments here says makes you miss Rob Ford. What an embarrassment. Next up, we got this one posted by Rachel Parker. We've got a guy here from the Canadian Navy who's basically saying because of the DEI policies, conservative, strong men are not wanting to join the military anymore.
Per capita for Canadian Armed Forces recruiting is from rural areas, okay? The reason being is one, you can, young men and women with a grade 10 education can join and become infantryers and cooks. Two, you can, there's good, like less job opportunity in these rural areas, okay? And three, there's jobs within the Canadian Armed Forces that, attract people who live in rural areas, such as shooting guns, driving ATVs, being out of the bush or being out in the bush. So what they've done is with this sort of woke DEI stuff, they've completely alienated their natural base of recruiting, right? Because young men and women from rural areas, generally conservative, do not want to join with sort of woke nonsense.
It cut off there, but yeah, woke nonsense. This is sad. I mean, they've made the military a place where strong men don't want to go. We've got this clip from Parliament here. We've got MP, this is NDP MP, Matthew Green. Just listen to what he says here.
Today on November 29th marks the UN International Day of Solidarity with Palestinian people. So I offer this House and all Canadians committed to justice and peace the following reflection. Every bombed village is my hometown, and every child is my child. Every grieving mother is my mother, and every crying father is my father. Every home turned to rubble is the home I grew up in, and every brother carrying the remains of his brother across borders is my brother. Every sister waiting for her sister who will never come home is my sister. Every one of these peoples is ours, just like we are theirs. We belong to them, and they belong to us. Stop the genocide. Long live Palestine. Long live Gaza.
I'm sorry, what? If you want to stand up here and say this stuff, then you need to tell people in the streets to stand down and stop wreaking havoc in Canadian streets. Let's get real, man. It's a two-way street here, and you've got a lot more power than most of us to have a voice in Parliament here. A lot of people not happy with this. This is insanity. No F that every day. It's terrible what's going on over there, but the problem is now we're having havoc in our own streets because of it. Havoc in Canadian streets does not solve the problem over there. Are you kidding me right now? What country am I in? What happened to true patriot love? Next up, we got leader of Saskatchewan here, Scott Moe, giving his take on the U.S. Trump tariff situation.
Trump's suggestion that things are the same on the Canadian border as they are on the Mexican borders is simply an unjustified suggestion. They aren't. But what his concerns and his suggestion that we should look at increasing our border security, I would say that we should do that. And I think all Canadians would be in favor of ensuring that our borders are secure, thus our nation is secure when it comes to people that are coming in illegally, when it comes to the drugs that are coming in and the scourge of drugs and the poison that we see in our communities today is very, very different than it was when I was growing up. And so we are a very strong supporter, and we voiced that with our federal government around increasing the border security that we have. Is we need a border security plan to keep Canadians safe and to keep Canadian communities safe, to keep our kids safe. We need a border security plan, and my suggestion to the Prime Minister and the other premiers was actually to bring the CBSA, bring our Coast Guard in right under the military. So it would count as part of our NATO spend, because we'll no sooner find this unjustified allegation of the Canadian border being the issue for one of our trading partners, but the next issue is going to be that we aren't meeting our 2% in our NATO commitment. And so let's bring in our border security, our Canadian Border Security Agency, right under the military and count it towards that 2%, show that we're making some progress, because 2032, achieving that 2% in 2032 isn't going to work.
That's an interesting thought there. I don't know if they consider that to be part of Canada's 2% spending, but if they do, then why not? Daniel Smith and yourself should go to Mar-a-Lago, strike your own deal before JT destroys what little we have left. It's a no-brainer. We shouldn't have to be threatened by our neighbor to maintain a joint fence. Well, the problem is Trudeau's a loser and he's breaking our country, and then it's affecting them. Mexico already backtracked. The PMO has no intention of avoiding the tariffs. That's exactly what we have here. It says Mexico leader responds to Trump claims she agreed to stop migration. Mexican leader Claudia Sheinbaum has sought to clarify details of a conversation she had with U.S. address President-elect Donald Trump after the two leaders offered differing accounts of the call. Following Wednesday's call, Simieritsch had agreed to stop migration through Mexico into the United States, effectively closing the southern border. This prompted Simieritsch to say that she merely reiterated Mexico's position, which she said was not to close the borders, but to build bridges between governments and the people. So a little bit shaky here in Mexico as well. Next up, I thought this is kind of an interesting clip because you see a big blockage here in Costco, and this guy here absolutely rages and just bulldozes his way through. And this is really just the state of Canada. People are frustrated in life that they're taking this out in places like Costco, because you never really see this kind of stuff. And now we're seeing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Get out. People can get out.
Hey, Wayne.
You're going to lose that.
Sir, please calm down.
Rawr, rawr. Rawr. Wow.
So is this a one-off event? Maybe, but I think in general, people are just angry and frustrated because things are so expensive. Life is so hard in Canada. You're seeing this spill out into places like Costco, where in general, Canadians are very polite. We're known for being polite. I understand his frustration. There isn't any etiquette anymore when it comes to public spaces, especially in grocery stores. Next up, we've got this old Liberal video posted by Naya.
Hey everyone, today I'm at Paramount Fine Foods with my friend Mohamed Faki and Han Dong. Et c'est important de souligner que pendant qu'on était là les uns pour les autres pendant la pandémie, on doit aussi continuer d'être là pour lutter contre le racisme et l'intolérance. N'est-ce pas, Mohamed?
We, during the pandemic, we needed the government help and we received that business owner. But most importantly, we need to tackle all form of hate in our country. I know justice.
We need to tackle all form of hate in our country. Are you kidding me? This is the government that's promoting it, allowing it to fester and breed like a disease monster that just keeps growing and feeding and getting more powerful.
So well for years, and to everyone out there, you know how much I love this country. For us to continue moving forward the same direction and better, we need to elect Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party.
Absolutely. I've been hearing at the door, people know.
Absolutely. I'm paid off by the CCP. I'll support you, Trudeau.
There's a clear difference between the Liberals and the Conservatives, whether it's on climate change, whether it's on gun ban, whether it's on daycare. We have a completely different plan, and progressive is the only way to go. Let's go forward.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. Keep moving forward for everyone.
This is terrible. Yeah, this didn't age well. Thanks for nothing, traitor. Next up, we've got a Conservative attack ad on David Eby and the BC NDP. This is pretty good.
Every who in BC liked Christmas a lot, but Eby in Victoria decidedly did not. For Christmas brought joy, and that wasn't his way. He gave his caucus a raise and made taxpayers pay. Yes, $2 million in raises for friends and for clout, while who's were left wondering, what's this all about? I promised them savings, Eby said with a grin. $1,000 rebate, so I'd surely win. But what they didn't know, and what they didn't see, was I'd delay the fall sitting. They won't hear from me. But David was not done with his masterful plan to steal Christmas joy from each who in the land. The feds cut sales tax as a holiday present. 13% savings in Ontario was really quite pleasant. But in British Columbia, the savings were slim at best. No help with the burden of being financially stressed. 5% off, said Eby, that's fine. They can keep their GST, but PST is still mine. No rebate, no tax break, no sitting this fall. Just raises for Eby and no help at all. So join the Conservative Party, a team ready to lead the fight to bring down Eby's government with incredible speed.
Great ad. Well produced. This is excellent. Factually correct. Something else to note about the PST and the GST being cut. Well, we don't get a carbon tax rebate in BC, but we're also not getting the business carbon tax rebate that Chrystia Freeland is rolling out right now, because of being in BC, and same thing with Quebec and Yukon. Essentially, things are incredibly unfair in Canada. It shouldn't operate like this. If we're going to have provinces paying into the government, for example, Alberta, those funds get redistributed across Canada. How can you have a carbon tax that doesn't get redistributed evenly across Canada too? I know they'll say, well, they're not collecting it. That's the whole point. The whole system is broken. EB doesn't care. He was just awarded 4 years of gravy trained by the BC voters. Yeah. Bunch of boneheads in BC here. NDP attack ads write themselves. I'm surprised how many people missed the memo. Why are they getting a raise when our economy is not great? That is what they should be spending our time on instead of getting paid for nothing. Next up, we got this one at downtown Kitchener, Ontario. This is apparently one of the biggest homeless shelters in this area.
Waterloo. We were at King Street and Victoria Street, and one of the large encampments in the city. There are tents set up everywhere. This is Trudeau's Canada. You will own nothing and be happy. You have people building huts. This is what Justin Trudeau has done to our country.
This is the state. Look at this. Tent after tent after tent. This is not secure. Your belongings can be stolen. How can anyone live like this? This is crazy.
He has ruined us. He is by far the worst prime minister Canada has ever seen. He is by far worse than his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. So again, this is the encampment in Kitchener at King Street and Victoria, just outside of the downtown core, not too far from the Via Rail station.
These tents are Canadians only. Hotels and hot meals have already been arranged for the Miller-Joly refugee campers. Pick any country, communism always looks the same at the end. It's crazy that the refugees get $82,000 a year and Canadians, tax-paying Canadians, get to sleep on the streets. The amount of shocking news and clips in Canada never ceases to amaze me. Every single day, there's not even just one or two, there's multiple things. It is quite unreal. But I guess that's what happens when you elect so many loonies up into the top positions in our government. The question now is, who will be the next Liberal to speak out against Justin Trudeau?